Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Vanucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
Hanako
It was a little intense there, man.
Too much for you, Kenny? Kenny,
that was a little early. That was a little too early for me. I gotta get my coffee.
It's 11 o'clock. Hey, put your video on.
Oh yeah, I'll do that in a second. Gotta grab my coffee.
He's got to get dressed first.
I think so.
I think
Oh,
rest
my
for
word.
crying out.
Some pants or something.
Relax.
Unbelievable.
What the hell's the video?
So Kenny.
Oh, this is why it's not on. that thingy. No, I needed my coffee. Okay.
Assume the position. Nice. Oh, if you're going on your, I'm going on my couch too. If you are.
Yeah, you should.
Hey, might live on this thing. This couch has got such an ass indent from COVID. Like, there's nobody that can sit in the seat except me.
It's where you do your best work, hey?
Okay.
Okay, well, hey.
It's where I work. I don't know best work or not, but it's where I work.
It's where he works. Yeah.
Right on.
Oh my gosh.
Really
How are you guys?
Just living the dream, Phil. Living the dream.
Something like that, right?
Yes.
Right.
You? What's going on in Toronto? You guys are getting the rain like us too.
We are getting a little bit of rain. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of bit of rain. It's been interesting. So
I don't support this. It's August.
it's it's too early. Like, and we've got fall like conditions now.
Yeah.
So we're down to like 10, 12 degrees in the morning. It's far too early. We should have 2 or 3 weeks of summer left, but
I
not so
refuse
far.
to give up the faith. It's coming next
Yeah.
week.
Hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully we don't get any more rain. Like, no more hurricane rains is all I'm happy. If we just skip that part, I would be overjoyed. Yeah.
Agreed.
What do you do? Yeah, what do you do?
Anyway, we've had better weather than you guys, so it's usually weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
What's new? Were you guys working all summer? Did you guys take any vacation off? What did you get up to?
Working. I drove back from Mexico. That was my exciting adventure. So
Cool.
yeah, landed in Vancouver 3 weeks ago, just over 3 weeks ago now. But yeah, it took 6 days. So I got to spend a big chunk of time in Sayulita, just north of Puerto Vallarta. And
Nice.
yeah, I did the drive with 2 dogs and 2 cats and my partner over 6 days.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's still pretty fast.
It is fast. It's very fast. But because it's, it's summer and it's hot, and when you have the animals, it's not like you can lock the car and go sightseeing because they'll die within minutes, right? Yeah. So you can't go anywhere. So we've done it faster. We've done it in 5 days. That's our fastest. But yeah, it's 4,500 kilometers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's and we're not talking open freeway for most of it either.
No,
Until Cali.
Yeah. Yeah. The first 3 days too are Mexico, and that is definitely not open freeway.
No, big dots in the middle of the road all over the place. You go 300 meters, another dots, 300 meters, more dots.
Or just random road checks to
like seriously. That's all good. You made it. That's good. Nice ride.
Mm-hmm.
Kurstin keeps us posted when she's in the cartel areas, so we know where she is.
All right. And what are we going to do with that information there, young lady?
Whatever you see fit.
Don't lose the phone. Don't lose the tracker.
Exactly.
What do you? Yeah, I mean, so the tracker veers off road. What do we do?
I'd go down and hunt for her.
Keep your tracker on too. Well, we got to tell Kurstin to stop this stupid driving. They have an airport. You fly in the airport, you fly the other airport. No driving.
The problem is the animals. Otherwise, I'm with you, Kenny.
No more driving. Too dangerous.
I think the drive is I think the drive is a lost art. Like I'm okay with
I
it.
love the driving. There's just areas you drive and areas you may be more selective.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Right.
We've stayed in some pretty cool random motels too that are like old, this like resurgence, I think, of old motels being redone and really cool. We're one, it's actually in Phoenix, and we look for motels because often you can park the car right outside and unpacking is easy, etc. But this one name, I can't even think of what it is, but they had like a fantastic restaurant, like not a Michelin star, but a really great restaurant joined to it. So we just had the best night ever. Great cocktails, great food.
Awesome.
We were like 6 doors down from our animals and our room, and so
Wow.
fun motels along the way.
That's really cool.
And what about you guys? What did you do this summer?
We
were both in Europe on different trips.
Yeah, we were in Europe. Yeah. It's funny because we actually never talk about vacation, and we wind up booking the same vacation, give or take, every year.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So, like
weird.
timing wise, we wound up almost the same, right? Within 2-3 days. Kenny stayed longer than I did.
Yeah.
But it's because I have younger kids than him, right? So I brought all 3 of mine. We went to Portugal for 10 days, so it was pretty fun.
And we brought none of mine.
Yeah.
Yours are all grown up though, Kenny.
Well, yeah, mine are adults. Mine did the drive across Canada or the States. She decided one day, I'm going to Toronto to see a friend. Oh, that's great. She's driving. All right. Going through the States. So she did 5,000 clicks there and 4,500 back. 5 days, 5 days going, 2.5 coming home. Even the border guard said, like, seriously? Like 2.5 days? Anyway, that's my anxiety. That my child drives me crazy.
That's fair. Kenny, did you go back? You went back to the homeland?
No, we were in, we did places we've never done. We did, we flew into Munich, just stayed a night, went to Vienna for 3 or 4, Prague for 3 or 4, and then Berlin, Würzburg, Baden-Baden, Munich, and home.
Oh, wow.
But it was really nice. Well, we went to watch soccer in bars. Figure that one out. I know. The games were so expensive, we didn't get to a live game. But the whole point of the trip was for euros, right? But anyway.
Right. Oh, well.
It was still awesome. Beer was awesome. I mean, it was good. It was a nice trip. Really enjoyed it. I love Germany. Well, surprised. I didn't think I would, but I really did. I thought it was really, really nice.
I like Germany too, but the food situation.
Now, the food is, no.
How can it be so close to Italy and the food be?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything's sort of like an off gray brown.
Yeah.
It's meat and potatoes. Like literally meat.
No, thank you.
No, they try, but it's not. It doesn't work.
No.
Bakery, bread, baking.
Yeah.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
Food. Yeah. Not so much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you go someplace, if you go to Germany to eat Italian food, like why am I going to? That's stupid to me.
Yeah, I don't recommend that.
No. Anyway, it was still good. We liked it. And then
So for listeners, we have Kurstin Leith and we have Christine de Blasio on, and we asked these 2 lovely smart people to come on, just because this is also unusual for us, right? Because normally we talk to brands, we talk to retailers, and then we're quite picky. Like we actually get a lot of agencies and folks that will approach us and say, "Oh, we'd like to talk to your audience." And I think Kenny and I do a lot of gatekeeping because we don't.
No.
There's just so many not amazing agencies.
There's only a few that we've had on.
Reached out. That's not what we're suggesting. It's just like sometimes it's hard to tell. So if we don't know who you are, we're not bringing you on. But we have the chance to hang out with you guys at a BC Food and Bev, kind of breakfast. And I just, we thought, gosh, we got to get you guys on and then, kind of find out about agency and you guys and your journeys. Cause I think both of you have pretty amazing journeys as well. Right. So, and then, for the industry, if you don't know these 2, you will. For those of you that do know them, you're going to get to know them a lot more. So, it kind of that's why we brought you on, because we thought it'd be interesting. We thought you guys would be able to bring a lot to the audience. So, welcome. Ah.
Thank you. That's a really nice info, Kurstin.
Yeah, very. And we're kind of choosy too, you know. I say that jokingly. But yeah, no, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. No. I think. I mean, you guys don't have to say anything. I just feel like we see a lot of agencies out there, and some of them serve brands and retailers well, and some of them not so much, right? And so I feel like we're constantly undoing the not so much, right? Like we run into brands and they have, oh, I'm spending. You're going, why are you spending Fortune 500 money on what?
It's just the silliness.
For what?
Yeah.
So we're constantly, doing that. So anytime that we meet folks that we think are really great for the industry, we try and bring them on, right? Because I think it's good for people to know who the good folks are, right? So, yeah.
Especially in your guys' side of the world. I mean, you know what it's like. You don't want to go into a room sometimes and say you're a broker. Like you're always trying to find the word that's not that, because as soon as you say that, people you think, oh, that's lovely. Great. What are you going to cost me?
Yeah.
What are you going to do for me? How quickly am I going to go through you?
Yeah.
Right. It's too bad, right? Because, like Phil said, like we're lucky. We get to talk to so many people. We've had great service providers on the show. We're pretty selective because they're just few and far between, it seems. Right. And that's, I've been in this long enough, so I'll say it, but that's kind of what I find. It's just trying to find good representation on any side, whether it's marketing, sales, is tough. It's very tough. And I thought, Christine, I think at the BC Food and Bev with you doing that, I think it's just good. I think they just need to hear, like, you were honest about it, right? You're going to do some things well, some things not as well, and you got to really make sure you find a good fit. So anyway, we'll shut up now because the next 45 minutes or so is the two of you. All we want to read, I guess what we like to do with most of these is just give us some, who you are, why you ended up here, why you continue to end up here, because retail and stuff, I don't know why we all stay in it, but we do. But sort of that. And then as we get, Phil and I will pepper you with things here and there, but for the most part, it's we try to shut up and let you guys just do the show. So I don't care who starts first. You guys figure that out, but whoever wants to light it up, let's go.
Oh, Kurstin, our fearless leader is going to lead us off.
I don't know. Fearless, but thanks, Kenny. And you're absolutely right. Brokers have a terrible name, reputation. And so, I'll start by saying I do everything in my power not to use the word broker, and partly because we're so much more than a broker. Brand management, obviously there's lots of brands or clients we're talking to, and I have to be like, AKA broker. That's just a piece of what we do. Right. But really, we think of ourselves as a full service, bespoke brand management company that sole focus is to bring better brands to market. And I know that's kind of cliche and people say that, but not just better for the planet, better for the retailer, better for the employees that are working for that brand, the manufacturer, the growers, better for the packaging industry, like all of those pieces. And we package that up neatly, I think neatly, and probably not so, when we became B Corp, right? So that was 6 years ago. And that was something we had wanted to become for years. And for me, that's and it's growing. That awareness around being a B corporation is growing. And it's unusual to be a service company that is B Corp. It's usually a manufacturer or a retailer, but to become a B Corp is incredibly rigorous and takes a lot of commitment and steps. And every time that recertification comes up, you're striving to be better than you were. And I think that statement in itself is a mantra for agency, right? How do we be better tomorrow than we are today? And what can we do differently? And what do our clients need? And what does the industry need? All through the lens of only working with clients that want to be better. And people say, well, do your clients have to be B Corp? No, absolutely not. And it's prohibitive to some clients, but we want to be a part of clients' journeys who are on the path to, again, being better in some way, right? Servicing their communities, servicing the planet. And that's, I kind of jumped right in there, but that is what makes us different. And when I talk about being brand management and providing bespoke service, we are a mid-size brand management company that works all across the country in all channels of trade, grocery trade, I should say, and have no desire to be the biggest ever. Like we currently have about 23 clients. We've kind of pushed up against 30. Do I see more than that? I don't ever want to say never, but at the same time, we all know a lot about all of our clients, and that's really important. And I don't know that we could be that if we had more than 30 clients.
Well, it gets tough. And I think that's probably where the broker model starts to get for lack of it, not me, like the sort of the deserved name or feel that it gets. You get 50, 60, 70. Well, how much time can you spend with anybody, right? Let me ask you one thing. Since you did go down this path, and so that people do understand it, because it is a little odd for the service industry to do B Corp. Can you just give us a very high level, quick and dirty? What is B Corp? Like, what is it? And why should people be excited about that? I know B Corps, I know we do, but I don't think a lot of people really understand what it is, because I do think most people associate it with production manufacturing, not so much this side. So if you don't mind, a quick one.
Yeah, sure. High level, the tagline, right? Using business as a force for good. That is. And so for us, at being a service, it's mostly, and there's 4 different segments, but for us, predominantly, it's our team members, right? Everything that we don't have products, we don't sell. Well, it's our people, right? So for us, it's about how do we treat our people with an agency, and that's where B Corp solely or really focuses on. For us, is like, how do we pay people? How many hours do they work? What are their work conditions like? Like that's the most. What does our employee handbook look like, or field guide as we talk about it? And then our clients, who do we choose to work with, and what are those clients like? Are they, how many are female owned? What, are they? What are they doing for their packaging? I keep talking about packaging, like recycled packaging. Are they organic? How many are organic? Are they biodynamic? Pardon me. Right. So it's that, again, everything we touch, we even have to talk about, how many greenhouse gases, like emissions, and are we doing training? It's about constantly educating and improving yourself and your awareness around the footprint. It's that triple bottom line, right? It's that, what is your footprint on the planet, and can you make it less?
That's cool.
Was that helpful? I feel, yeah.
I think so. I think for most people, I just think they need to sort of understand like what it's really about. And it's in the service side, I guess it is more about the people's. How do you treat your people, in essence? And when you pick companies, how do they treat their people? And then obviously all the other stuff of how do you treat the planet, et cetera. I'm assuming in your world it could be, if you've got brokers on the road, maybe a little bit more virtual periodically as well, so the contact's there, but maybe a little less carbon emission fun. Like, you don't need to be driving everywhere all the time. You don't need to be flying everywhere all the time. Like, trying to do your part to do what's right overall.
Yeah. And
satisfy the need of a customer.
Absolutely. And I think COVID actually really helped with that, but that's really true, right? Like you don't need to fly to Toronto for a meeting. We can do so much now virtually, and just being really mindful of the impact of getting on a plane. Is it really necessary?
Exactly.
And just on the B Corp, just for listeners, it is a third party, right? We don't just one day wake up and say, hey, we're B Corp, right? So there's B Corp is worldwide. I don't actually know. I should have done updated my research before this call, but there's over 2,000 of B Corps in the world. I think Canada, we're up to well over 500 B Corps within Canada. So B Corp Canada and US partner together, and there's B Corp Europe, and there's B Corp Mexico, and like wineries and purse makers and shoemakers and deodorant makers and lawyers. And so it's growing. It's really catching on, right? Started by Patagonia. Founders of Patagonia is where it started. So
that's cool.
So I did do a tiny bit of research before this. As of February 2024, there were 8,500 certified B Corps across 162 industries and 96 countries. So pretty extensive,
and growing.
Yeah, and growing. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't mean to digress, but I think it's kind of important because I think it does. There's reasons why we like having people like you on, and I think that was one of the things, is that to me it's not normal for service to typically be B Corp.
Mhm.
I don't think it needs to be abnormal, but right now it's not.
Mhm.
I would say that you're just slightly ahead of the curve.
But I think it takes some dedication, right? Because like
100%.
if you kind of hear Kurstin talk about it, there's a lot, and then there's kind of like a score you have to hit, right? So there's it's in a lot of ways it's like voluntary torture, right? Because you're volunteering because nobody asked you to do it, nobody said you had to do it in order to get a job, but you guys submitted yourselves, you got a score above 80. All the results are transparent, right? I think people can get to those results. So if you score badly on something, it opens you up for criticism, right? Like it's actually punishing in a lot of ways, right? And then all of the fees and the legal stuff and all of the stuff that comes with doing this, again, nobody asked you to do it, right? Like this is I philosophically want to be able to run my business this way, right? So I think that's really important, right? Because that's like, this is not a manufacturing standard that you must adhere to, right? This is something that you could have run with 30 clients, and been really happy, like we do some environmentals and we're really great to employees. You could have applied for the free, we're in the top 50 workplaces in Canada, that thing. You know what I mean? Like, so, but it's not the same thing, right? This is a whole different level of like cert,
Exactly.
that says that
Self-inflicted, lots of self-inflicted.
Self-inflicted wounds.
I think it's important. Yeah. I think for integrity, it's important that
I do too.
understand.
So before we get to Christine,
Yeah.
Kurstin, one thing I don't know. So where did you come from? Like, what were you like? You didn't just decide. Please tell me you didn't do that. Please, you didn't decide one day. Oh, I should open up an agency within the retail CPG
Just
world.
showed
Please
up.
don't say that.
No, yeah.
No, I did not. And I'm
Okay.
so no, I've been doing this my whole life, but Whole Foods Market, right? So I really cut my teeth. I was with Whole Foods for 25 years and learned everything I know today from that, and was the most fantastic experience ever. I mean, I've been gone now 12 years. So, pre-Amazon, I was there back in the day when every region really was autonomous and you were running your own company. And I always said that I would stay there as long as I had the opportunity to learn and was challenged every day. And when that, I lived in Seattle at the time I'd left. So I was vice president of purchasing for the Pacific Northwest. Saw them through the Wild Oats acquisition and the Capers acquisition, which was part of the Wild Oats. Had worked at the Capers stores back in I was 17 back in 87. I'll be dating myself there, right? That was my first job, wrapping and cutting cheese. So I'm a retailer at trade. And I think that also makes agency unique in that I bring that experience. I don't think there's a lot of agencies or brokers out there that are led by ex-retailers. And so I'm always coming at everything we do with that lens when I'm talking with our clients and the margins and understanding what it's like on the retailer side. And I'm also going to say, here we are 11 years later, and retailers, it's not the same as it was back then with everything that retailers ask for. I won't go down that road right now, but yeah. So Whole Foods is where I got my starting. And then did a brief stint in distribution, joined UNFI as I came back to Canada from after living in the US for 10 years. And that was like crazy, making eye-opening, super glad I did it. And learned a ton, but
different world.
But knew I was only going to be short-lived, right? I was there for 14 months, and then a good friend of mine actually said I was asking her for some advice because people were telling me I needed to start. I was doing consulting, and they're like, "You need to start your own agency." And I'm like, "Oh no, I don't want to do that. No." And then grabbing coffee, and she literally said, "Why don't you join me?" And that was LBN Brand Management. And so that's how it all started.
Oh, okay. I didn't know any of this either. And I know a lot, I've been around for a while too. So I kind of know some of the names. I'm not going to date myself. It's well documented.
I'll do it for him later. I'll well time the mockeries. So.
I'll just leave it.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love the journey. I love grocery. It's in my DNA. Like my mom, my mom also worked at Capers, was the store manager at Capers. She had a grocery store on Bowen Island, Dunfield and Daughters, right? So it's just, I can't, when I go on vacation, my partner and I have to go into grocery stores, no matter where we are, grocery store. I'm not kidding you. I love them.
Yeah.
But you're talking to two people who do the same. So it's really sad in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's reassuring that it's not just a couple of us, but it's kind of sad at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can spend hours in
Yeah,
grocery
yeah.
stores. Even when I come back to Vancouver, right after being in Mexico for a couple months, I'm hitting Whole Foods. I love it. I'm a London drugs freak. I love and watching their food expand and what brands are in there. And I'll be in Vancouver for 3 days, and I'll like literally spend 16 hours in grocery stores. I got my whole circuit. So
it's very sad. Very sad.
No, I don't. I
it's not a
think
grocery store. It's a
That's
restaurant.
the sadder part. Is I actually understood that wholeheartedly.
I understood it. Yeah, me too. Me too. I think it's kind of cool. Like I think there's an art to it. Like everywhere I go, I post. Like I think I was in Porto, right? And there we walked into this just lovely, lovely, lovely store, right? And then like all the kids are out, and they're like, "Where's Dad? Dad's still in the store." Like, you know what? We know better. We'll just leave him there, and then he'll catch up to us at some point, right? Like, because I was having fun. Like, I think that's cool.
I think
well, in markets, like I bet both of you guys in Europe, like markets are amazing. So
I love markets.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's my favorite.
I love them.
oh my god.
Okay, Ms. DiBiasio,
Yes, sir.
what about you?
Yeah, well, my journey was a little bit different. I have not spent my career in CPG like everybody else in CPG. I actually started in recreation. Funny enough, I have an aquatics background, and I did a bunch of fitness programming, and then I actually opened up my own corporate wellness center in downtown Vancouver. So that was kind of the road I was on. And I have a really good friend that works in the industry and always heard about it and was always really intrigued by the natural products, and it just so aligned with, my healthy lifestyle. And I just said to her one day, the business wasn't going as planned. Our trajectory for our business took a bit of a hit in 2008. So I just kind of planted the seed and said, if there was ever an opportunity to get into the industry, it really speaks to me. And yeah, I got an introduction and started working for a large broker with no experience. So super grateful for that opportunity and just to kind of learn. Spent 8 years just learning the industry kind of inside and out, starting with independence, going into key account management, managing sales teams, managing the retail team. And then, I took a brief stint out of food a couple of years back. I went into tech for a couple of years. Funny enough, I run into a number of people in food that have a stint in tech, which is surprising to me. But it confirmed that tech is not for me. And Kurstin and I have been industry friends for, I think from the early days, and I just always just really liked Kurstin as a person, enjoyed our time together, and just thought what a quality woman she is. And we just always stayed in touch. And when she was in Vancouver, we went for walks and just talked about what's important to us, and we're the same age and stage in life. And so Kurstin and agency were at the top of my list. I think, well, for me, especially as I get older, it's really important to me who I'm working for, what they're about, what they stand for, and everything about agency really, really spoke to me. I knew probably half the team already from previous roles, and just amazing people, incredible brands, just the way that agency approaches business and the philosophy. It was just such a perfect fit. So I joined agency almost my 1-year anniversary. So I'm fairly new, but loving it. So I wear a couple different hats, but the one I absolutely love is talking to new and emerging brands, helping them out where I can, and just looking for the right fit brands for agency. It's my favorite thing to do.
Very cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
Amazing. This is cool. Okay, so you guys are in this industry. You've got Kurstin, you said that something to the tune of 20-25 brands that you work with.
Yeah, 23.
23.
Yep.
Amazing. And then they're all food brands?
They are not all food brands. We have a couple wellness brands as well, like supplements. Currently, we have home care, dish soap, hand soap. Yeah, all brands you would find in a grocery store, though.
Okay. And then what's like if a brand's thinking about bringing on an agency, what do you kind of have a target size audience that you look at, or threshold in terms of how much volume they make? Some of those things.
Oh, yes. And that's an ever evolving answer, right? Like what I would say to you today is different than what I would have said to you 5 years ago, as I, alluding to just the cost for manufacturers to get into this crazy business. And they're crazier than the four of us on this call. If you want to, start a brand, I think that I would say you have to have sales of $500,000 before even considering a broker. And many brokers, brand management companies would say $1 million. But we work with small brands as well. And 5 years ago, it would have been 250. But really, post-COVID, knowing, and even 5 is small. I say 500,000, but knowing that you have a path to $1 million, ideally within 12 months. Like, what's your
quickly into $1 million though?
Yeah, what's your run rate, right? But I will, if I think the brand has what it takes, meaning they have the financial stability, they have the wherewithal around their numbers. They know where their numbers were a year ago. They know what their run rate is month over month, same accounts year over year. Like, they can answer all those questions. Then I can sink my teeth in and really, think, okay, they know what's going on. We can take this on, because often, and no disrespect, brands, we can't all be good at all things, right? So a brand is really good at making this tomato sauce, as an example, but they're not really good at accounting, and they're not really good at watching and collecting their sales data, or they get their sales data from a distributor, but they are only looking at that 1 month. They're not comparing it to last month. They're not really, they don't know how to use it. Right. And so I feel bad for them, and they have no idea. They can't tell me what even their biggest customer is, or they think they know. And then when I actually see the data, it's completely different. So I would say that's the most important thing, as far as, not most important, but definitely has to have that $500,000 and a strong trajectory within 12 months, 16 months to $1 million.
Right. I guess it makes sense even for them though, because there's a cost to all, like, we're all service industry here. There's a cost to all of us being involved in your businesses. Mm-hmm. So you definitely need to build in these things.
I say to brands, like, you can't afford us. Like, if you don't have this, like, I'm flattered that you're talking to us, and that means a lot. Our reputation is everything, and the fact that you came here is saying good things about agency, but you can't afford us. Like, that is the same. And I even sometimes have had conversations with brands that we've had, right, that we thought they would get to that $1 million, in 12 months to 18 months, and then here we are 2 years later, they're not there. And I have some really hard conversations with them, just saying, like, hey, I'm challenged to take your money every month, because I see the numbers and I know how much this is, right? And we don't pay high retainer. Like, our retainer is $3,500 a month. Like, it's not and we have a little bit, we have some that are a little bit less that have been around, right? But it's not a lot of money. But if you're not or you're right at 500,000, that's a lot of money.
No, I think it is. I mean, it's literally, if you're doing 30 grand a year, that's your profit, man. You take that out of your GM. I mean, and a lot of these people don't run. I mean, I guess that's one thing I was gonna, like, what do you see are those typical, because we have a lot of small brands listening, and him and I can talk and preach it, but sometimes I don't think they really listen. They'll listen to us, but they may not really get it. Sometimes they need someone like you guys to say, listen, here's like the 3 or 4 fundamental things. If you don't come to the table with, you're going to have a hell of a time. Like, to me, it's always like, I'll tell you what I always look. I always look at sort of the margin percentage that they're going to do, because everything has to come out of that.
Yeah.
right? You don't bank sales. I mean, if you do, I'd love someone to show me how to do that, because then we'd all be rock stars. But I don't think you can bank sales. So the spread is all you got to work with. But I don't think people really understand it. Do you see that a lot, or?
Yeah, and I'd even go further, Kenny, and say it's not even like we always talk about, margin dollars, because you can't take the percent to the bank. You take the dollars to the bank, right? So that's really where the rubber meets the road. And so many brands, they don't understand that. They don't. So it's a big educational process on our side. And I think, they also not only, I think the industry has changed so much that you have to have, in order to be successful, you have to have the funds to go into mass. Without those dollars, without the type of product that mass is interested in, I'm sorry, that's a different. I'm not saying you're not going to make it as a brand, but you definitely will never need a brand management company. Yeah. It's completely different. You're like a farmer's market, small independents. But I think the days are gone right now, anyways, probably in my working time, where a brand can make money just off the independence. That's not where we are in Canada. We don't have enough population. We don't have enough independence. The grocery.
Well, we've lost all our independence, Kurstin.
Yep.
I mean,
Yes.
We got 5 or 6 guys that are buying all the independents. What independents do we have really left? There's very few of any size. Like in the old days, you could run off, like in the West, you could run off a London, Overweighty, and old H.Y. Louis, and you'd be golden. You could run off Whole Foods.
Yeah.
But that's a tough world these days, man.
Yeah.
So true.
Market's getting smaller too. Unfortunately, like Busteris went under this week, right?
Yes. Yep.
I know they're high end, so maybe that applies to some of our guys and some of it doesn't. But you kind of go like, you really, we needed those guys to be able to stay in the market, right? So all of that's getting so small.
I've even noticed a huge difference just in that the 2 years I was out of the industry, things were already moving in that direction, but coming back in, I'm like, wow, like it hit me hard, because I think, when you're running alongside it, not working in the business or in the industry day to day, I'm acutely aware of the changes that have happened even in the last couple of years. And Kenny, you alluded to the talk that my colleague Julie and I did for BC Food and Beverage, the emerging brands. And, we knew when we put that together that, you want to keep it as positive as possible, but you also want to be really realistic with brands and very clear about the industry and what to expect, right? I mean, you want to give them the tools to be successful, but they also have to be really armed and understand what, in that emerging phase, what's ahead of them, right? And to pivot now, because it's an expensive lesson, a year or two down the road, if you're not equipped with all of that information and truly understand the cost of doing business. It's getting more expensive every day.
For sure. And to me, Kurstin, it's not negative. I know people come and say, well, you're so negative. So no, there's pragmatism. There's real reality.
Yeah.
The fact is that this is not sort of Kurstin. This isn't 25 years ago, which you could run up and down the streets and go see Famous Foods or Donald's in Vancouver, or a few Choices stores, and you do okay. You can still do a good business there. Like, it's not that you can't. You can still work independence. It's just a lot harder than it ever was, because there's just not that many left. Like, look at our province. I mean, we'll talk, because it's not Phil, he's from Ontario, but like on our side, Choices, Nature's Fair, Quality, like all of a sudden, Thrifties, 2 guys gobbled up like those 4 in a matter of not that far a time. Like, we just seem to have lost. The old days, you could go to Safeways and do decent business, DSD. That's done. Right? You could go to most, whatever is a Loblaws banner now. I mean, you don't have that freedom and flexibility. And to your point, if you do not have it built in to your model, it's a shit show. Like, then pretty soon, Kurstin, what you're going to be telling people, listen, unless you're doing 5 million, at 50 points before marketing and before all this other shit, guess what? You just don't, you're not going to do it. You can't generate the margin dollars to play this game. Like, you're just going to get killed. So that's sad to say, because the little brands and the little retailers, where the fun was, that's where the cool shit happened. Nothing cool happens in a Walmart. Like it just doesn't. Right? Good business, great. They do wonderful. I'm glad they're huge, but what cool happens there? Kraft doesn't do cool shit. Phil came from J&J. J&J just doesn't do cool shit. They just do shit.
That's right.
The cool stuff's all the little guys, right? And it's hard for them unless they really get it. So, Christian, that's why I thought your presentation with you and Julie was so good. It's because it's honest. This is reality. You can make a go of it. Just don't be delusional. Like, understand what you're up against. That's all you're trying to tell people. You can do it, yes, but understand the game.
You have to have all the facts to know where you are and how you have to pivot to keep going. So yeah, there was a few wide eyes in the room, but I think people get it. It's hard to let go of a dream when you've created this brand from scratch and it's so close to your heart. And not to say that it's not going to be successful, but again, you just have to really take the information and apply it. Right. And ask for help. And I think BC Food and Beverage and the work you guys are doing with those brands is invaluable to help steer them in the right direction before they get too far in and lose too much money.
Yeah. That's sort of how we feel about it too.
Can we, the market thing we could talk about for a long time. I feel like there's just so many things. But I wanted to bring it back a little bit. What is, because I think, so a few things. One is I find brands that are getting ready or are ready for a group like yours. Sometimes they don't know they're ready. Oftentimes, I don't know if you see this, but, oftentimes they don't even know what they're asking for. They don't know what they're, what comes with what you guys do, or like there's so many of these, but we get lots of these guys where we're kind of going, hang on a second. So you came asking about things like social media, but I don't actually see a plan. Like, so what is the plan for you? Well, no, I was going to, marketing by social media isn't a plan. It's great that you're going to,
so we're all clear.
It's not a plan. I know what, so I guess I'm curious, so for brands that are kind of thinking this over, going, look at, I need extra resources, right? Like I'm selling, I think of your brand, what you should be thinking about is I've got really decent volume coming in. I'm starting to scale. I can see where I want to go, but there are unknowns in my business now. Like, so how do people find me? How do people find me when they go online? How do people know who I am when they go to a store? When the retailer starts asking me for my marketing plan and they get upset because all I'm sharing is, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok posts. Those are probably the first signs that you probably need to go, I need to stop and think about this. And then maybe I do need to call someone like an agency who might be able to help. Is that kind of, I kind of wanted to make sure, like, as brands listen to this, I think they have a clear vision of who you guys are and how you understand the market. I do think that understanding how to work with partners is something they don't understand either.
Yeah, that's a great question, Phil. And I think we're so different, the agencies within the Canadian market. I believe, I've never worked for any of the other broker firms, but I've heard, and you have clients that move around. We're so different, the services that we offer. But I think of ourselves as, we are the sales team. We are the sales team for the brand, and at agency, we are your advisors for how to get to market and how to stay in market. So how to get to shelf and stay on shelf. Like that's, and again, depending if you're a Canadian brand is slightly different than if we're working with an American client, but, choosing distribution partners, choosing retail price points. What do you want your promo price point to be at? How many weeks can we be on promo? We advising hey, here's what we've seen works. And then exactly like the marketing plan, so if it's X retailer that you want to be in, we really know they like you to be at consumer shows. Or how many consumer shows can you be? Are you going to be at any sporting events? So talking to them about that, we build a strategic plan for every one of our clients in November of every year. for the following year. And that goes through, everything like these KPIs that we're measuring, sales dollars and units and points of distribution and doors. Like they tell us, it's all about getting their information. And then we kind of regurgitate it back to them with our own expertise, like putting on the hat of here, yes, I think we can do this, or that number is really crazy and I think we can only do this. Taking into account, do they have line extensions coming? Are they wanting to do a rebrand next year? Are they they're only in the West and now they want to push East. So we're going to need to find, or they are in the East, but they don't have a Quebec specific distributor as an example. So we need to find a Quebec distributor, or we need to help, we have an issue with dating issue that the product brand client, retailers are really interested in them, but their shelf life is just not long enough. So is there anything that they can do? I mean, we can't fix that for them, but is there anything really encouraging them to extend their shelf life? What can you do in that level? Or, hey, have you ever thought of making this product as a frozen product instead of a fridge? So really, again, because of our expertise, we really go deep in all of those areas that I don't think many do. But yeah, I'd say summing it up, how to get to market and stay in market is really the advice and the support that we can provide. Christine, did I?
Yeah, I think, and that was going back again to the presentation we did. That was it, right? How to get on shelf, how to stay on shelf and excel at shelf. And that's kind of how we break it down, right? So we always just use the term like trusted advisors. We're like your business coach, right? So we put the strategic plan together. Everyone agrees to it, signs off on it, and we all work to plan, right? We meet regularly, we check in, make sure that everyone's on task. Do we need to revise, update, change? So, obviously the brand has the final say, but, we are the retail experts. Our team we really should do like a tally of years of experience on our team. I mean, we've got probably a couple hundred years of experience in retail. So yeah, I mean, that's what we do. And that's, yeah, when brands are coming to us, we're very clear about what we do well, the areas that we, don't work with them on. And as much as they're looking at us and hopefully, interviewing a couple of different brand management companies, we're doing the same thing. We're vetting out the brand as well. We don't take on a brand to bump up our numbers. We take on a brand because it's the right fit. It makes sense. We like these people. That's very important. Everyone's headed in the same direction. It's products that we as a entire company love, would want to share with our friends and family, and we really get behind the people and the products. Just to expand on that a little bit, when we are looking at a potential brand, we will always require samples, and we will send it out to the team and get everyone's input, right? What do you think? Right from packaging to flavor and all the product attributes. So it's a very collective decision that everyone has bought into, and that's really important.
I think that's really helpful because I think as brands, because these brands as they start to scale and they start thinking about it, they are going to need help, right? So you got to get them past the here's the retainer and here's what it costs, and then you got to get them into, look, here's what you get back, right? Like you're not going to get a full kitchen sink, but what you're going to get is like extensive knowledge that helps you in a very specific area, right? Which I really love. So it's amazing. Yeah. Kenny's noodling a question over there.
No, I'm just thinking. No, I think that, and again, I think the challenge that the industry has, and specifically on a broker side, and which is why I do like what you guys are trying to do, is that you have to spend time with the client you have, right? But you also have to understand they have to participate. Like the reason I find a lot of people flip-flop so much is because what their expectations are of a broker, one, maybe just weren't explained well by the broker, so there was never a fit. Or maybe the person just has no clue what a broker actually does and what their responsibilities are. You can't just hand off so I'm talking to the not the four of us, the outsiders listening. You don't just hand off your brand to said broker and say, well, there it is. There's my sales team, and light it up, and I'll talk to you in a year. Hopefully we do well. You got to be part of this, man. Like it's a team play.
Right? You could, but the results are quite awful, actually, right?
Like, I've seen it, and then I've seen people get pissed off in a year. Oh, that broker's useless. I'm thinking, you could be right. They could be useless. But based on what you've told me, you spent zero time with them and you didn't really work them. And quite frankly, I mean, what did you expect to get out of the group?
Kenny, I've never heard anybody say that. And I haven't thought exactly like that, but you were bang on. Like, and that is so true. It's a relationship, right? We talk, it's a relationship, and every relationship, it takes two, right? Like it's a two-way street. It takes more than two, but that is a really excellent, thank you. I'll just make that note and make it part of my spiel as we go forward.
I just actually wrote that down. Thank you.
Well, I think it's because I do think that's the problem. But I think that is the fundamental problem with it. I think it's like I'll blame the brands for this, because we have brands too, and we've done the same things. Like, we've all made the same mistakes. Don't expect somebody else to give a shit as much as you give a shit, right? So the effort you put in with your broker or distributor, whomever it is going to be what you get back. They will do as much as they can, but it's not theirs, it's yours. Right? Having said that, I do want my broker partner or my distributor partner, I want to be part of their family. And it's hard to be part of a family of 800 kids. Not too hard on 23 kids, right? And especially if the kids are all in the same park, not spread out over 35 parks. So that's another thing you got to do when you pick a broker. You know, if you pick a broker who sells crackers as well as nuts and bolts to an automotive place, I'm going to challenge you to say that I'm not too sure if you're going to get what you want out of this. They may be just spread a little thin for you. But if they're all talking in the grocery aisle or within an X area, again, like, you got to do your homework too, right? Before they get to you. But I like the fact, because I do know Christine a little bit, I think you guys would be honest enough to say, listen, not a good fit.
We're very transparent, because not being transparent doesn't work for anybody, right? It might work short term, but it's not going to work long term for either party. And like I said before, you know, we actively encourage, when we get on a first call with a potential brand, like, I never fail to say, please talk to other brokers, right? Interview brokers, talk to at least 3. You brand need to ensure that this is the right fit for you. You know, we're very clear again about what we are and what we aren't, and pick a broker based on, you know, your gut feel, how they answer questions. It's like Kurstin said, it's a partnership. It needs to be a two-way street, and it needs to be the brand. The perfect relationship is, you're right, not a brand that just kind of hands over the reins and walks away, but also doesn't try to completely steer the ship either, because I've seen that before and it goes off the rails, right? So when it works really well, it truly is a partnership where there's open communication, very transparent, where everyone is working with the same information, and we work smarter, right? That's just that's the magic formula.
Agreed.
I love it.
Yeah.
You guys are doing some cool things. This is
the
industry needs it, right? Like, the industry needs it. Like, you know, brands need to understand that finding partnerships that match. You know, we have had a few brands that we've talked to, and they're like, oh, the conversations are going well. And we're like, what does that mean? Like, so do you like them? You know, because they're all people who work in these places are all people friendly, right? So you're going to have great conversations, but do they match, right? And then it was like, what do you mean match? And we're like, oh gosh, like, so you got to know the person, you didn't get to know the broker or whoever it is that's in market, right? So all these things, they really matter. So
do your homework.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do your homework.
Because we do.
Exactly.
We do our homework on the brand for sure.
But that's just it, right? Again, it's sort of all about the effort you put into it. So
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't that true of everything in life, right? Like, you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah.
That's right.
But you know what it's like? A lot of brands just come out. I sell well at the farmer's market. This is going good. All my friends and family say this is the best thing since, you know, anything. And, you know, they come to you and you're thinking,
stay in that market.
Yeah, maybe you want to stay there or have your family be your broker, because You're getting interesting advice, but quite frankly, this is life in the big city, and this is how it's really going to work.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can still make it work. Like you just have to make, you as a brand may have to change how you view things as well, right?
Mhm.
But anyway,
having a successful brand at the farmers market, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, there's no shame in it. That's
zero wrong with that.
amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. You enjoy that, and you can make some pennies out of it, or even if you don't and you still enjoy it and it's not killing you, yeah, do it all day. I will, whatever makes you happy.
Mm.
Not everybody has to be in Walmart or Costco, right? That's not necessarily anybody's goal. It might be, but it might not be.
Absolutely.
Well,
Kirsten, it looked like you were going to say something.
yeah.
No, I'm good.
Oh,
I'm good.
We're almost out of time. I feel like we could do this all day, really. But I think before we run out of time, if folks want to find you, what is the best places to find you? No phone numbers, no home addresses, please. Maybe just website.
Unless that's what you want, and then
but really no.
Your fault. We're not responsible for that. It's very clear. Create your own mess.
You want our website, Phil? Is that what you're after? Yeah.
Or LinkedIn or wherever they could talk to you if they want to.
Yeah.
Find you.
Both Christine and I are on LinkedIn. Agency is on LinkedIn. Agency Brands with an S. So it's also agencybrands.ca is our website, and Agency Brand Management on LinkedIn. We would, be happy to hear from you.
Awesome.
Amazing. And you've got some cool, like if you guys are interested, they've just got some cool brand people that we love a lot.
Yeah,
actually.
it's just good lines.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
lines.
Thanks so much,
guys.
guys. Really appreciate you taking the time and your interest. Means a lot.
Thank
We
you for
love
coming
it.
on. It's you that does it. We just have a space.
Yeah.
You need people to say yes and want to do this, and I think it's just important. I think
You
people
create
can
the
still
space.
do it.
Mhm.
People can do retail. You just need to understand it a little bit better.
We've had a few of your brands on. If there's anyone in your kind of portfolio, particularly Canadian, because we've focused on Canadian, but anyone that you want on, throw them our way. We'd love to get them on. We think Canadians are doing amazing things. It feels like it's the two of us that are loud enough to yell about it all the time. So that's what we do. But we would love it. So if there's anyone who's kind of doing cool things, or they've got new distribution that you want to be able to celebrate about, shoot us a note and we'll figure it out with you guys.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Sure.
Are you both going to CHFA?
I was just going to say that. Yes, we will be there. Will you both?
We will be there.
Okay.
We'll be there.
And,
Phil, are you going to be running around again with your microphone and interviewing brands? Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Come to agency. We'll line it up for you.
Okay.
Well, seriously, let us
Sounds
know,
amazing.
Christine, even ahead of time if you want.
Yeah.
If you have something you want to walk us through, or walk us through them all, or I don't know, whatever. Let us know.
We're game. We're definitely down. I'm actually heading out there tomorrow. So I'm heading out where Kenny and I are going to do the interior of BC. We're going to go see our friend Peter in Kelowna. He's got this nutso weekend planned for us. And then we're going to swing around. What are we doing? Kootenai, Nelson.
We're going to go see Kootenai Co-op. We're going to go see the Ferreros. Yes. Well, I got to go trail, right?
Of course. Of course.
Well,
Back to the hood.
I got to show them the house we grew up in.
We're going to go down to a winery, right? In
Caramias.
some weird Caramias.
Oh,
yeah.
which
We're doing
winery?
it through 5 days.
Yeah.
Love it. What winery in Caramias?
Close to you're like asking the two people that close to Soleil.
Yeah, this is good for our assistant to ask questions of Christine. Like, you put us on the spot, like we actually know things.
We're just
clearly we don't know much of anything. I know what cities we're in. I booked the hotels. That's as far as I went.
We have this amazing executive assistant, executive coordinator, and she has gotten us all. Otherwise we're going.
I have no idea where we are.
And she's like, "Yes, here's the sheet." We're like, right,
wow,
that way, and she's like, "Oh God!" Like,
oh boy, boy. I haven't been to that one, so I'll be looking for your. We got
a bunch of cool stuff. There's some really cool stuff. Peter's Yig in Kelowna, like Peter Boyd's all over. Like he's gone mental.
Oh my God! Yeah, I can't read the emails now. He's all like, he's got, I don't know, like feels like a million brands lined up for us, right? Like
I don't know.
it's going to be really fun. It's gonna be
So
really
cool.
fun.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
The two of you, thank you very, very
Thank
much
you
for
very
doing this. Really do appreciate it.
Likewise. Thank you
Thank you
so
both.
much, and look forward to see you in a
My
couple
pleasure.
weeks.
You bet.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao, guys.
Wow.
Okay, my friend, we
They're very
do
fun.
need to get on a call.
We do. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and we shall chat soon.